Hi, boys and girls. Mrs. Janney again. And today's lesson, the presentation anyway on the video, is going to look a little different than the way I've been normally doing it because I want you to use your imagination and not necessarily follow along with the way that I would do it. I kind of want to see how you create your own. So today we're talking about designing your own castle. And we're going to work specifically with the element of shape today. Oops, it jumped ahead on me. Here we go. So think about fairy tales. Don't a lot of them focus on a prince and princess theme, or maybe someone being saved from some kind of evil? Well, that makes me think about castles. And what would it be like to have my very own castle? What would it be like to have your very own castle? Think about that for a minute. What would that look like? What would it feel like? What would it smell like? What would the sounds be in the castle? So what do real castles look like? Well, the first picture on the left is a temple. It's not necessarily a castle, but it's large and very ornate and decoratively made. And it's in Thailand. And it is all solid white, and it's absolutely beautiful. I love that picture. And then the one on the right is Bolt Castle, and this is in Thousand Islands, New York. Yes, it is in the state of New York in the United States. So there are castles even here in the United States. And that's got the traditional turrets, and you can see the bridge and the moat around it, or the water there, and the stone and the windows. It's pretty fancy. Okay. So we're going to use shape to design our own castles. So let's recall shape. It's an element of art, and it's a 2D space with a defined boundary. And it could be defined by a line. It could be defined by things around it, leaving an empty space or an empty shape. And shapes come in two forms. They can be geometric or organic. So they could have a name like square, rectangle, circle, oval, or they might be soft, curved, naturally created shapes that don't necessarily have a specific name. It's found in nature. It's free form. So we're going to use those to build our castle. So in class, I'm going to give you, each of you, your individual tray of cardboard shapes to trace. And you can trace one at a time and build them. You don't have to trace the entire shape. You could just do part of it. If you only want half of it, just trace the section that you want, and then fill it in where you need to. At home, you could use items like a ruler. Container lids are great. If you have plastic bowls or things like that that you can turn upside down to trace. You could use a scrap of cardboard from a box. Maybe you've ordered some things and you've got a scrap piece of cardboard from an Amazon box or something. You could use a small book or a coaster on your coffee table, anything like that that's easy to trace around. You can use anything, lots of different things. Use your imagination. So you can see that in this example here, they started by tracing a square. Then on each side, they traced a rectangle. Then they added triangles on top, and you can see it starts to look like a castle. Then the more detail you add, like the flags and the windows and the bricks and the doorway here, the opening for the drawbridge. Those are details that you can add that make it look more and more and more like a castle. So once you're finished drawing the castle part, then you can start adding these extra details. So in class, you're going to get a copy of these at your table to look at, and they'll be all stapled together. So the front one will be the one you just saw. And then you'll have these attached to it. There'll be a page that shows all different types of Gothic windows. And they're Gothic because they're arched at the top. You see that? And that style was created during the Gothic period. Then there are some images here to help you see how to draw people, dragons, horses. There's bridges and lots of different things that you could add to your castle. And there will be a page on how to draw a dragon if you need help with that, if you want to add a dragon to your castle. Now here are some examples that I found online. Some are digital, and one here is actually drawn by a student. I found all these on Pinterest, so I'm sharing these. They're not mine, but I'm sharing these to give you something to look at. And you can get as fancy as you want or as simple as you want, and you can add lots of extra things around your castle. So don't forget your background and your surrounding area. Now these are ones that I've done as examples in class. So to finish, you will color the castle and maybe the ground area like the grass or the water below. You could color that with crayon, but definitely color your castle and any people or dragons you have in your picture. Then we're going to use resist technique. So you do the coloring in crayon first, and then you can go back with watercolor. As you can see here behind this side of the castle, I've started the watercolor, and you fill in all the empty space of the sky. So it creates a really pretty background for you. All right, so now it's your turn to create your castle and do your coloring today. And then hopefully the next time you come to art, we may not finish it in one sitting. So we may come back the next time and do your painting. So happy art making, and I really look forward to seeing all the great imagination you use in creating your very own castle.